The night my family turned on me started at the graduation party for my nephew. I walked into my parents' house in the suburbs outside New York City, expecting the usual mix of congratulations and small talk. Instead, 32 relatives were already crowded around the dining room table, every seat taken, except the folding chair pushed against the wall like an afterthought. No one greeted me. A few cousins glanced over, then went back to their conversations as if I wasn't there. I sat down anyway, hands folded in my lap, watching trays of food pass without anyone offering me a plate. My sister, 5 years older and always the favorite, was at the center of attention with our parents. Then my mother stood up, ready to make a toast. Instead, she turned to the sideboard where the family photos were displayed. She picked up the framed picture from my high school graduation, the one with all of us, and the one from my college graduation, then the recent family portrait that included me. She ripped each one off the wall one by one. The frames hit the floor with a crack. She dropped them straight into the trash can they'd set up nearby, looked right at me, and said loud enough for the whole room, "This one doesn't belong in our memories anymore. She's been nothing but a disappointment." My father didn't stop her. He leaned back in his chair and added, "If you're still showing up looking for free food or handouts, you owe us every dollar we spent on your college. Pay it back or get out." My sister stood next chair, scraping back, and pointed toward the front door. "Go ahead, Peyton. Don't ruin the celebration." I didn't argue. I didn't raise my voice. I grabbed my bag, walked out, and drove home. In silence, the humiliation still burning. They thought that was the end of it. They had no idea what I was about to uncover or how much their perfect little show was going to cost them. My name is Peyton Hayes. I'm 33 years old, and if you want to know how one humiliating family party turned into the night my parents finally paid for years of lies and betrayal, stick around until the end. I got home just after 10, parked in the driveway, and headed straight for my desk, without flipping on any lights. The drive had cleared my head enough to focus. I opened my laptop and logged into the email account I used when I first started freelancing for colleges. My mother had pushed me to let her help with applications years ago. She still had access because I never bothered changing the password. I pulled up the forwarded messages from the past 5 years. Most were junk, but a few stood out: confirmation emails from student loan servicers and scholarship offices. They thanked Peyton Hayes for recent applications. I hadn't applied for anything since college. The dates lined up with when my nephew started his freshman year. I opened a new tab and ran my credit report. No major hits, but there were inquiries from federal student aid programs. Then I checked my nephew's name in the system I had access to through work. His financial aid file showed extra scholarships he never mentioned. The source, a private scholarship fund with my name listed as donor. I never set that up. I created a folder and started saving everything: emails, screenshots, timestamps. Then I searched the Department of Education's public database. Multiple loans appeared under my Social Security number. Small amounts at first, then larger ones rolled into consolidation. The mailing address was my parents' house. The phone number matched my mother's. My phone lit up with a text from my sister. "You really had to leave like that. Mom's upset. Just say sorry, and we can forget it." I saved the screenshot and didn't reply. The next morning, I called the financial aid office at my nephew's school. The rep confirmed the scholarships were funded through a family grant in my name. I asked for the application records. She said they could send them with verification. I emailed the request right away. Then I pulled my full student loan history. 2 private loans I never took out. Both dispersed to my parents' joint account. One note said, "Family support for education." I knew exactly who signed for them. I texted my Aunt Carla. "Hey, it's Peyton. Can we talk privately?" "Something came up about school paperwork." She replied fast. "Come by any time. I've been hoping someone would ask." I drove to my aunt's apartment that afternoon. She opened the door right away, looking tired but ready to talk. We sat at her small kitchen table. I opened my laptop and showed her the scholarship records and loan applications. She leaned in, scanning the screen. "Those are the scholarships I thought my son got on his own. Your mother handled the paperwork when he applied. She said it was easier if she did it through her old contacts at the school." I asked if she had ever seen the full award letters. She shook her head. She gave me a summary page with the amount and said the rest went to fees. I trusted her. I got a check for a few $1,000s. That was it. I pulled up the Department of Education's grant tracking page. The scholarships totaled over $100,000 across multiple years. None of the money reached my aunt or her son. The disbursements went to an account my mother controlled. We went through her old emails together. She found messages from the financial aid office asking for additional signatures. My mother had replied on her behalf, attaching scanned documents. The signatures didn't match my aunt's handwriting. Her phone buzzed. It was my cousin Julian. She put him on speaker. "Mom, you okay? You sounded strange earlier." My aunt glanced at me. "Julian Payton is here. We're looking at some old scholarship applications your aunt managed. Can you come over?" He showed up 15 minutes later with a folder. "I've been collecting this stuff for 2 years. Mom kept getting calls about loans she never applied for. I told her to check everything. Turns out my name was on several private loans, too." He opened the folder. Copies of promissory notes with his signature forged. The loans were small but added up. Proceeds transferred to my parents' account. One note referenced family education support. Julian met my eyes. "I stayed quiet because your mother said she'd tell everyone I messed up the applications. Said I'd lose my internship if it got out. But seeing your name on the scholarships, that's crossing a line." My aunt put her hand on his arm. "We need all of it. Emails, statements, anything." I set up a shared folder on my laptop. We uploaded the folder contents, the email chains, the forged notes. Julian added a voice memo he recorded from a call last year. My mother saying, "Just sign here, it's standard. Don't bother your mom with details." I saved the file. Then I said, "This isn't isolated. This is a system." Julian nodded. "What do we do now?" I told them I would contact a lawyer who specializes in education fraud tomorrow. No more letting this slide. The next morning I called the education fraud lawyer whose name kept popping up in forms. Her name was Rachel Torres. She listened to my quick summary on the phone, then said, "Bring everything you have. In person. Today if you can." I printed the whole folder, bound it, and drove to her office in Manhattan. Rachel went through the documents one by one. She flagged the forged promissory notes, the mismatched signatures, the scholarship applications with my aunt's name, but no real authorization. "This isn't a mistake," she said. "This is deliberate fraud. Your mother used her old position at the school to push it through. That's grounds for license revocation and federal penalties." She asked if anyone else in the family was involved. I told her about my aunt and cousin. She nodded. "Get their sworn statements. We'll need them to prove no consent." I left with a retainer agreement and a clear plan. That afternoon, I met my aunt and cousin again. They signed affidavits in front of a notary. My aunt added something that shifted everything. "Your mother once asked me to sign a form for tax verification. It was actually an authorization for her to handle my son's loans. I signed because she said it was routine. I trusted her." Julian showed me another recording on his phone. She told me the same thing about a different loan. I kept this call. We uploaded the new files and recordings to the shared folder. Rachel's office requested copies that night. 2 days later, my mother showed up at my studio unannounced. The front desk buzzed me. "There's a woman here. Says she's your mother. She's upset." I walked out to the reception area. She stood there in her usual blazer, clutching a folder. Smile forced. "Payton, we need to talk. Alone." I pointed to the open lobby. "Here is fine. Everyone can hear." Her smile faded. "I know you've been poking around old applications. Stop it. This is private family business. You're going to ruin lives over nothing." I kept my tone steady. The reason is fraud. Forged signatures. Scholarships and loans in my name I never applied for. My aunt and cousin already gave statements. She stepped closer. You think you can turn against your own mother? After everything I did, I arranged those funds to help the family. You were part of it, even if you didn't know. I pulled out the printed summary Rachel prepared. Dates, amounts, forged documents, all marked. Help doesn't mean faking applications or lying to federal programs. Her face tightened. If you file anything, I'll sue you for defamation. Your sister will back me up. The whole family will. I met her eyes. Then let them. The records don't lie. She grabbed the summary, crumpled it, and let it fall. You're making a huge mistake. She turned and walked out, heels sharp on the floor. The receptionist watched it all. After my mother left, she said quietly, "That was rough. You good?" I nodded. Better than good. That just made it official. I called Rachel right away. She picked up fast. She came here. Yes. Threatened to sue. I have the lobby camera footage if you need it. Rachel gave a short laugh. Perfect. We'll add witness intimidation. File the complaint with the Department of Education's Inspector General tomorrow, and the Federal Student Aid Fraud Line. This qualifies for federal review. The next day, Rachel filed the formal complaint with the Department of Education's Office of Inspector General. She attached the affidavit's application records, forged promissory notes, and the recordings. The OIG opened an investigation within a few days. They reached out to my mother for her side. A week later, an investigator called me. He asked about the application dates and who authorized the scholarships. I answered straight, just the facts. He said the evidence looked solid for an immediate hold on any further aid processed through my mother's old contacts. Rachel then sent copies to the Federal Student Aid Fraud Unit. The loans crossed federal guidelines, and the amounts triggered their review. An agent named Special Agent Kim contacted me. She scheduled a virtual meeting. I sent her the shared folder link and prepared my answers. In the interview, she zeroed in on the pattern. We see family members exploiting old positions like this. How many loans and scholarships total? I told her 7. All started around my nephew's freshman year. All dispersed to my parents' account. Agent Kim noted the forged signatures. We'll subpoena the loan servicers for original files. My sister called that night. Her voice was sharp. Mom's losing it. The OIG sent someone to the school. She says you made this up because you hate us. I kept it short. The documents are real. If she has proof I faked anything, let her show it. She hesitated. Dad's talking about selling the lake house. Things are tight. You satisfied now? I said, I'm not the one who signed other people's names. She hung up. The next day my aunt called. The investigator talked to me this morning. I told them everything. Your mother tried calling after. I let it go to voicemail. Julian sent a screenshot. It was an email from the OIG to my mother notice of pending review. Her old access credentials were flagged. No more handling aid forms. Rachel updated me a week later. The loan servicers turned over records under subpoena. My father's account showed deposits matching the disbursements. One transfer had a note, education contribution, dated the same day as one of my forged applications. Then the twist hit. The review uncovered that my sister had co-signed 3 of the private loans. She initialed pages but said she never read them. My mother told her it was quick paperwork to help your son. The amount seemed small, so she didn't push back. Until the letters started arriving. Rachel said, your sister's position is tricky. She could face repayment, but if she cooperates fully, we can keep the focus on your parents. I told Rachel to extend the offer. Full statement in exchange for no personal referral. My sister agreed the next day. She sent a written admission that she signed without understanding. She also forwarded emails where my mother wrote, just initial here, don't worry about the fine print. The pressure was building. Every new document pointed back to the same 2 people. They had turned education into their personal bank. The consequences rolled in over the next few months. First, the Department of Education's Office of Inspector General revoked my mother's access privileges permanently. The official letter listed violations of federal aid regulations, identity misrepresentation, and unauthorized handling of student records. She was barred from any role involving financial aid processing for life. My father's side business took the next hit. The bank froze the joint account after the subpoenas showed the source of the deposits. Vendors pulled credit lines. He had to close the small consulting firm he ran on the side. All contracts were canceled. The family lake house went on the market to cover the mounting debts. The house in the suburbs followed soon after. A realtor's sign appeared in the yard within weeks. My parents dropped the price twice in a month to attract buyers. Neighbors started talking. Relatives who had been at the graduation party began distancing themselves. My aunt mentioned a few cousins had quietly checked their own student loan histories after the rumors spread. My father called one evening. His tone was flat. "We're selling the house. The business is done. Your mother can't work in education anymore." "Is this what you wanted?" I answered evenly. "This is what happens when you sign other people's names on federal loans. You had options. You picked this one." He didn't push back. He just said, "We thought we were helping the family." Then the line went dead. My sister texted me a photo of the for sale sign. "Mom's moving to a condo. Dad's crashing with a friend. I can't cover both of them. You got what you wanted." I replied, "I didn't want anything. I stopped the fraud." She sent one more message. "I should have questioned it more. I'm sorry." I didn't answer. The words came too late. The civil case wrapped up quickly. My aunt and grandmother got full restitution for the misused scholarships and loans. The court ordered my parents to repay the disbursements plus penalties. They cashed out retirement savings and personal accounts to settle. The check arrived at my aunt's place first. She called me, voice steady. "Thank you for seeing this through. I can finally move forward." Julian kept me updated. He had secured a better position at a new company. His record stayed clean because he cooperated from the start. My aunt used the restitution to pay off her remaining debts. Both were rebuilding on their own terms. The final update came when the OIG closed the file. No criminal prosecution against my parents. The evidence supported civil violations. But the U.S. attorney declined due to their age and no prior record. It didn't change the outcome. They had lost the house, the income, the reputation, and most of the family ties they once controlled. My parents ended up in a small rental far from the suburbs. No more graduation parties. No more family portraits. The life they funded with other people's futures had finally run out of credit. I kept things quiet after everything settled. No more family group chats. No invites. Just space. My freelance work picked up fast. Clients started coming from referral schools and programs that heard about the case through education networks. One admissions director reached out. "I always wondered why some aid packages felt off. Thanks for bringing this to light." I reviewed our own files and fixed a few things. The story spread quietly in college circles. It became one of those warnings people shared in private forums. I got messages from other designers and parents who suspected similar setups. I pointed them to the Department of Education's fraud reporting line, free credit checks, and legal aid resources Rachel had shared. My aunt and cousins stayed close. We met for coffee every few weeks. My aunt used the restitution money to pay down her mortgage. She set up a small savings plan for her grandkids. Julian moved up at his new job. He told me once, "I used to think family meant keeping secrets. Now I know it means calling them out." My sister kept her teaching position but switched departments. The co-signing stayed civil. She made a small payment to one lender. She texted me a few months later. "I understand why you pushed forward. I wish I had seen it earlier." I replied with one sentence. "Seeing it is the first step." My parents never contacted me again. A distant relative mentioned they were living on fixed income in a small apartment. The big house, the graduation parties, the image they maintained for years gone. They chose shortcuts over honesty. The results landed where they belonged. Looking back, that graduation party wasn't the start. It was the moment the truth showed through. What came after wasn't about getting even. It was about setting things right. When family uses your name, your future, your trust, to cover their tracks, you have every right to pull the plug. Blood doesn't give anyone permission to steal. If something feels wrong with your student loans, scholarships, or financial aid, unexplained letters, odd inquiries, pressure to sign, fast-check your records today. File a report if needed. Talk to someone who knows the system. Don't wait for the truth to explode. The sooner you act, the less damage they can do. Thanks for listening to my story. If this hit home for you, drop a comment below. What would you do in a situation like this? Like the video if it resonated? Subscribe for more real family stories and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next one. See you soon.